ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Starladder Season 8. We're here live with Day 19 on Beyond the Summit. I am Zyori. Joining me once again today is going to be Cinderin, and our first match coming up will be the Retry versus Virtus Pro. We've only got 4 matches coming up today, but it should be 4 good ones. Our third and fourth matches will both be Mao's games. That should be pretty exciting here. TR versus Virtus Pro. Cinderin, how you feeling?
Feeling good. Actually surprised we only had 4 games today. I thought we were set for a long day, but yeah, I mean a good game to start the day off with. Pretty much an all CIS matchup. I'm not quite sure about the stand-ins where they're from. I know Eid is German, and then I'm not sure about Lars and Yoki from the Retry. So they've got a new stand-in today in Lars, and well, we're off to pretty much a regular start here. Elder Titan actually finally goes through the draft. I think it's the first time in a game we've cast together that we get to see an Elder Titan. Maybe it's the second game it happens, and well, the Retry, they wanted to see him and profit for it, so can't really blame them.
Yeah, Virtus Pro took a lot of their early reserve time to decide what they wanted to ban out, and they did ban out the Alchemist first, as well as the Clockwork, and the Retry going to ban out 2 very scary heroes. The Bristleback makes a lot of sense, and also Doom makes sense against this team. Virtus Pro loves to run that Doombringer, especially Illidan. That one-position Doom is something that they really like to do, so not surprised to see TR take him out of the pool. Like you said, Elder Titan going to be snagged here, and the Retry will grab the pretty standard Crystal Maiden, but then treat themselves to a global Nature's Prophet. And whoa, Luna, second pick.
Virtus Pro has been watching Na'Vi and playing against Na'Vi. Yeah, well, it's starting to gain some more popularity again, the Luna pick, which I'm not really too surprised with, because when we got the new version, Luna was a really high pick, then it kind of fell off a bit, and then it's like a rotation that happens once in a while. It's not too out of the ordinary. It's happened to plenty of other heroes in the past, so I'm not too surprised about it. The same about the Prophet. Also faded out a little bit, and now he's starting to get picked up early again. Some teams have kind of stuck to him the whole way through, such as Alliance and Fnatic have rated Prophet highly for a very long time, but the Retry, it seems like their go-to hero for Yoki. I think he's been playing it every time they had it, and most recently, yesterday, they managed to grab a win against SSD, who have been looking really good in the tournament, but they did get the better of them in that game based on a very strong comeback there.
Yep, absolutely. So we'll see how Virtus Pro want to use the Luna. As always, she's one that needs just a little bit of space, and if she gets it, could go for that Midas first. We've seen that a time or two. And the Retry, I think, banning out very smart heroes here. They will ban out the Storm Spirit, not one we see banned too frequently, but again, one that Virtus Pro does like to run on occasion. And also Outworld Devourer, another one that they've had in their repertoire, and that will be a Dragon Knight mid, most likely for TR. And he should have an okay time. I guess Puck could always be an option for Virtus Pro. But I don't know, Cinderin, if you see a third pick Dragon Knight, who are you trying to snag to give that Dragon Knight a hard time in the mid?
Well, when Outworld Devourer is out, which would be one of the obvious choices, there's still a hero like Shadow Fiend who beats pretty much any melee hero really hard in lane once he gets the damage advantage, and of course the Shadow Razes are way easier to hit against a melee target. That would be a choice. It's been one of the most go-to counters to Dragon Knight as far as the lane goes, but for Virtus Pro, maybe it's a little bit overkill when they already have a Luna. To get a Shadow Fiend as well might be too much, so they could be looking for a hero who has some more control instead in the mid lane, and well, they banned Timbersaw themselves, which is a shame, because he's really good against Dragon Knight in the lane, and could have been a very nice choice for them in this game, actually.
Yeah.
But there's plenty of other heroes. I don't think Dragon Knight excels in the laning stage. The good thing for him is if he just gets through it reasonably well, and not too many heroes can pressure him really hard, but I would say generally ranged heroes with solid harassment, like Queen of Pain as well, which Virtus Pro like to play, is still in the pool, and I actually think she could be very nice here. Also, Crystal Maiden and Prophet don't have too much to provide against the Queen of Pain. Blinks out of the Sprout. Sure, you've got Frostbite, but that's pretty much it that you've got with CM, and she's also very fragile, so
yeah.
Could be a quap, but they're going to get Ogre first, which they picked yesterday as well. They really seem to love this, and Enigma. PGG Black Hole.
Wow, yeah, PGG going to play in the Enigma once again. He played an alright Enigma yesterday, so slowly redeeming himself here. But yeah, that Ogre, an interesting choice. At least in this situation, I like the Ogre paired with the Luna. Last time it was Ogre paired with Weaver, and we talked about how that Bloodlust doesn't really synergize with Weaver as well as it does with other heroes, and I think Luna is a good example of a hero that works really well when paired with an Ogre.
God. Yep. Dogs need some bloodlust as well, apparently. Maybe they're mad at the Ogre, I don't know. Well, Virtus Pro, I just realized how much time they've used. I didn't realize they're down to 3 seconds bonus time, so they're kind of hard pressed here on making their decisions as far as the draft goes. They don't have too much time. Now, they pick the Leshrac, and knowing Virtus Pro, they really like to play aggressive tri-lanes. And now that the Retry have gone for Enigma, which is kind of a greedy jungle pick, then I think we could very well see Virtus Pro running their classic aggressive Luna tri-lane. And with Ogre, Magi, and Leshrac, you've got 3 stuns in that lane, actually. Luna's, of course, only a mini-stun, but
yeah,
lots of burst damage output. Plenty of time as well for Ogre to get in, because that's one of his biggest weaknesses as a support. He's got a ranged stun, but he's melee. But with Leshrac following up a stun, Luna having the mini-stun, he can actually get in and get hits off, which he really needs to be a useful support compared to many others, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So we're going to see if that's what they choose to do.
Yeah, I definitely like this setup with Ogre a bit more, like you said, and it's probably going to be that aggressive tri-lane in the safe lane. I think they're going to be hoping to go up against that solo Nature's Prophet and just knock down that tower pretty much as quickly as possible. It is one of the things that Lesh brings to the table as a support early on. That Edict does well to do damage to those tier 1 towers. I think you mentioned yesterday that if you have a level 2 Edict, that's at least about half health on a tower if it goes unchecked. So that pushing power quite immense from the Keeper of the Grove there, to reference some Warcraft 3 action. Viper going to be banned out by TR. We'll see what VP want to do with their final ban. I guess Viper, another mid-hero that does fare pretty well against the Dragon Knight.
Very true. And they banned the Shadow Fiend themselves. I think they watched the retry yesterday. They were actually running something very similar yesterday. They had Dragon Knight. They had exactly those 5 heroes, right? In the game they won against SSD. Crystal Maiden, Prophet, Dragon Knight, Enigma, and Shadow Fiend. I think they had those 5 particular heroes. So
that sounds
Virtus
right.
Pro,
yeah,
I think they've done their homework here. That was the last one, so they're going to replace it with a Lifestealer, and I think this is very good here, the Lifestealer.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
One problem for them is, as far as the laning stage goes, Lifestealer is a good laner, but if he's going to play with a CM as the only support in the lane, which it definitely looks like right now, of course Enigma can come and help a little bit later on, but in the start, he's a melee hero against Ogre, Leshrac, and Luna in the lane if Virtus Pro choose to go for that kind of style. That's very hard to get farm in that, because he constantly needs to be aware that if he gets stunned, he will basically take at least 400 damage, and that's his salve right out the window then. And here's another good lane hero against against Dragon Knight. Do you remember we talked about that? I think it was 2 days ago when there was a Dragon Knight pick and they put Slark against it, and I was like, this is actually, he does very well against Dragon Knight, and God, one of his favorite heroes will have a very easy time in his lane.
Yeah, definitely. And one of the things I saw someone post in chat, which is a good question, why pick Ogre third here if you're Virtus Pro? And we mentioned this before. I think they third picked Ogre last time, and we were both sort of like, well, that's interesting. You can always pretty much rely on getting Ogre as a 5th pick. But as we mentioned before, I think some of it has to do with just revealing that hand. If you grab Lesh, it's a little bit more indicative of, hey, they're going to be doing some pushing. And of course, a third pick Slark, very obvious what Slark's going to be doing. So even though Ogre is not really at risk of getting banned out or 5th picked by the other team, I think it's more of just not revealing too much of their hand. Would you agree, Synderen?
Yeah, and it seems that's the approach from Virtus Pro, that they choose to cloak up a little bit with their supports with what they do. And as far as the retry goes, I think they're happy if Virtus Pro does not run an aggressive tri lane here. Because if Lifestealer gets free farm and Dragon Knight has an okay time mid, I think he's going to lose to a good Slark. I think God will win this lane a bit, but not a complete crush like a Queen of Pain could provide. But what the retry will get is, if they get time, they will have a carrier for the Lifestealer. They can port him into the fight with Prophet, which is excellent for ganks and team fights. They have very solid tanky mid-game presence with Dragon Knight and Lifestealer, both of those two. And they have the Black Hole, which we should never forget about. Just the threat of it, or an actual good Black Hole, is very good against a lineup like Virtus Pro has, because if you look at their carries, Luna, Slark, and Elder Titan have one thing in common. They really need to get in close. Yeah,
that's true. Luna does have pretty low range at only 330, and of course Slark and Elder Titan are melee. And even with that melee Ogre, you're absolutely right about that. They don't have a huge amount of utility to try and deal with that Black Hole. They've got the mini stun on Lucent Beam. Slark doesn't have anything. The Pounce doesn't interrupt. So yeah, it's basically on the Ogre, Luna, or Lesh to try and interrupt this Enigma, especially before that BKB comes out. So I guess the pressure's on for PGG. If you can catch those 3 heroes, then should be a pretty easy time with that Black Hole. But hopefully this pause isn't too long here. Right now, VP in kind of an interesting position. They are a 5-man group here. sort of posturing around the Roche pit. Maybe a little bit afraid that TR may be trying a level 1 Roche here. Sort of
yeah, they tried to pull that off. They tried to pull that off yesterday with a Shadow Fiend and got immediately scouted out by SSD in that game.
Yeah.
Lifestealer was Shadow Fiend, but apart from that, the same lineup. So Virtus Pro just making sure, since they've seen it happen before, but TR, they're not going for it this time because, well, they've tried it very recently and got scouted out, so they would probably expect for that to happen again.
Yeah, well, still a nice heads-up play from Virtus Pro to start things off. Obviously, they have done their homework here, and they know what TR have been up to. Always good to see teams keeping tabs on one another, staying up to date, and, well, just in the spirit of competition, knowing what's going on. I do approve. I always seal of approval. So let's introduce these rosters a bit here.
Yeah, let's go for it.
And see what's going on. Virtus Pro going to be on the Radiant side. We've got Illidan going to be farming away on that Luna in the safe lane. Going to be supported by JOTM on the Ogre. Arzart going to be on the Leshrac here. That means God going to be solo mid on the Slark. And in the off lane, it will be Light of Heaven playing on the Elder Titan. Cinderin, do you want the honors to introduce TR here?
The battle begins.
Sure thing. We've got no one else than PGG on the Enigma. We've got the Dragon Knight played by Yoku, who has been... Oh, sorry, Yoki has been playing the mid lane for them recently. Crystal Maiden by Lars. I have no idea who this guy is.
Yeah.
Lifestealer will be played by Nubik. And finally, Nature's Prophet by Eid. He's actually playing offlane this game, which is... He's been playing a stable support for the retry in all the last games we've cast, so
yeah,
maybe a little bit of a rotation here with a new player coming in to stand in.
Yeah, well, in Starladder Season 7, he played a lot of the long lane. Actually, Nature's Prophet was sort of his signature hero, and we've seen teams ban out the Nature's Prophet against TR a fair bit. But you're absolutely right. Here in Season 8, it looks like he's been playing support, but rest assured he is an experienced offlaner, and he should fare pretty well. I think Nature's Prophet at least was one of his signature heroes, though it seems they have done a bit of a rotation. We'll see how he fares, though. He's got his work cut out for him, of course, up against this Virtus Pro tri-lane, that killer tri-lane we were talking about, and Luna did start off with an Illusion Rune here, so going to have even easier last hitting from the get-go. So unfortunately for Eid, not going to arm to start things off. He may just be wise to rotate into that jungle before too long. Though, of course, Enigma's going to be there, so not going to have that same bit of freedom just to move into the jungle as he would otherwise. And, of course, there is a ward here up on the high ground put down by the Radiant that is blocking this big camp here, so that will slow down some of the jungling options for the Nature's Prophet and Enigma alike.
But as long as it's as long as we're looking at in terms of economy, I would definitely favor TR here. Arzart does finally get a pull-off down here at the bottom lane. I think the first one was blocked by the Treants. But they have a greedy support who's getting away with it. They're just letting PGG freely jungle. Eid already got his level 2 on the Nature's Prophet, so he's looking pretty okay. Obviously not the lane of his dreams, but still, he's getting some. And he actually has kind of the same experience as Light of Heaven does, who's playing on the Radiant offlane in a 1-on-2 scenario. So the retry, if this keeps going on, I definitely like their start in the game here, because the supports of VP, we haven't talked so much about this, but Ogre and Leshrac are not the most level-dependent supports. But when you're running two supports like this in the same lane, if you don't get the pulls you want, and you don't get the kills, it's simply not worth it. And they have a smoke on Arzart, and I think they will be looking to get some experience that they will soon desperately need in that mid lane.
And here's an interesting build coming out from Arzart. He did go first point in Split Earth, but now second point in Lightning Storm. Actually, at level 2, going to skip to the Edict, which is an interesting change of pace, and there's the smoke. So Edict not going to be the choice, and, well, we'll see how it works from here. Looks like they are going to rotate towards the mid lane. Ogre is only level 1, so just has that Fire Blast, and no slow quite yet, but here we go.
More than enough, here we go.
On to Yoki. God gonna hop in. Split Earth comes out. Yoki gonna be destined to fall as the Pounce does leash. Very easy gank onto the Dragon Knight. Didn't even need the Edict. The Lightning gonna... I don't even know if he used the Lightning there. Didn't even need to spend the mana.
No, he didn't have to. When they have double stun setup and the burst damage from Slark, it's a very easy kill. And the problem for Dragon Knight in this lane is the way the lane itself works with Slark against him is that Slark will... When Dragon Knight tries to go into last hit, if Slark does it right, he gets a couple of hits in on the Dragon Knight, and that gives him a big damage advantage. Every time he hits Dragon Knight, he removes 1 of his damage and gains 3 for himself. So it's kind of the same idea as when you have an Outworld Devourer playing against an Intel hero, and you drain their damage and get it yourself. God can do the same kind of thing. He's doing it right now. Does get forced back a little bit by a Breathe Fire here, and surprised to see how well Yoki is doing in this lane. He's actually out-farming the Slark by 7 CS right now, and this is not how I was imagining this lane to go, but he must have really outplayed God here. In my opinion, not an easy lane for Dragon Knight necessarily.
Yeah, he did get a nice early bottle, so he's able to stream that, spam that Breathe Fire pretty liberally here. And yeah, doing very well in farm. But let's take a look at net worth, see how that first kill helped out Slark. And yeah, he is about 400 gold ahead of the Dragon Knight. So that does, well, make it a little bit easier for God here. Doesn't have to be quite so conscious about those last hits as he does. I mean, I guess that's not a fair thing to say. He does still need to worry about last hitting. But yeah, still going to have a nice little boost here. Light of Heaven, going to take a Malphus from PGG, and that will keep the top rune safe. Nice rotation from the Enigma to secure that regen, and now Yoki going to bottle it up. He'll fill up his bottle and also get to spam that Breathe Fire a few times as well with that regeneration rune. So things continuing to go in the favor of the Dragon Knight. You never know, we could see another rotation come his way. There is another smoke up on the Leshrac, so they could very well just pull another rotation and try and gank him, as it was a pretty easy kill last time.
Yeah, definitely. Well called. They're going to do that right away now, and have to say that with the first move they made that was successful, they're keeping up the pace. They have 2 supports that are level 3 at 4.5 minutes. It's not ideal, but it's good enough, especially with the kind of draft they've set up. If this kill is successful as well, they're keeping on par with TR in terms of experience, and that's essentially what they want to happen right now. But Yoki, I think he's learned his lesson here. He's finally on his own cliff now, so the gank is a lot harder to execute, and God might actually try a pounce. He's gonna miss!
Oh, wow, that was...
that's a big miss there. Breaks the smoke as well.
Yeah, and PGG showing his face, I think that did help deter the forces of Virtus.pro, and actually even more rotation coming from the Crystal Maiden, so they're absolutely wise to it. Any sort of suspect behavior, and the rotation's going to come in, so if they even pick off Dragon Knight, at least they can try and back him up and maybe get a counter kill in his stead. Enigma very close to level 6. God going to leap forward again. Won't connect with the leash, but still going to be able to get a little bit of harassment off. Not going to happen. Elder Dragon form is now out. But like I said, PGG going to be level 6 here in just a moment, so he may be looking for a rotation or maybe a bit of counter gank action now with that newly fashioned black hole.
Yep, no smoke available right... Oh, well, there are smokes available, but he doesn't have one on him, though, on the Enigma. This is when we sometimes see Enigmas actually trying for a smoke gank. Speaking of which, he's going to try a gank just without the smoke, but Slark does get out in time, and now support is coming in. TR will try to put some pressure on this tower, but this could really backfire if they're not careful. They are careful, though, so they will be leaving that lane for a bit, and Enigma rotates back into the jungle. But we're starting to see the... What I was talking about in the beginning, if you look at Golden Experience, is just steadily going in the favor of TR. Even though they've conceded their first blood, there's still 1,000 Golden Experience ahead, and that's simply Enigma. That's just Enigma right there, giving them this advantage at this point.
Yep. PGG doing some serious work, one of the most effective junglers in the game, opening up a whole lot of extra farming potential. Both carries have picked up a hand of Midas here, Luna in the bottom, as well as Lifestealer up in the top lane, both with pretty comparable builds. I think Luna got hers just a pinch earlier, though they were pretty similarly timed. Here at the 630, both in the inventories, those are still very fast Midas on both sides, as both carries really having an easy time in their relative safe lanes. Luna 42 and 18, and Lifestealer 39 and 25. They're just about on par with one another. And kind of similarly, the offlaner's doing pretty well. Nature's Prophet just about to hit level 5, and Elder Titan just about to hit level 5. They have just about the exact same amount of experience. So pretty comparable across the board here, except for that Enigma, as you've been talking about. Here, E going to be in big trouble, though. They're going to dive it, and that will be an easy kill. Illidan doesn't even have to burn the ult, just another Lucent Beam to finish him off, and Eid will get a trip back to the well. Arzard taking a bit of damage here. Some nice path blocking from the Treants, but of course not going to be enough to secure a kill. And I have to admit, I really hate these pumpkin Treants. They're so jarring. When I see them, I'm just like, what in the... Oh, okay, they're trees. Ugh, hate that.
I kind of agree with it for this particular cosmetic. I feel like this one is, in a way, too far away from the original, because what Valve are trying to do with the items they allow into the game is that they keep some sort of a level of... I'm not sure what the right word for that is, but it needs to resemble the original item so that people don't get confused, and so it stays in line with the lore of the hero. And I feel like these particular treants are a little bit too much for me, at least.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard of the Alpine Ursa set that got removed fairly quickly, and because of that, it's actually very valuable now, because it's a rare set. They didn't delete the ones people had, but it means there's only very few of them available.
That's the cowboy one, right? Where he's got the little cowboy hat?
I think he's got like a cowboy hat or something, and people were screaming. The community was going wild, and this is not acceptable to have an item this far off. So we have our like codex of what is acceptable to have, and this one for me is right on the border.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. It's not too bad. Now that I know what it is, I know, but the first time I saw it, it was really jarring. Like, geez, there's... Who summons pumpkins? I didn't know there was anybody with a pumpkin summoning ability. Oh, okay, I get it now. So
new hero,
Pumpkin Man. So that kill going to help out a little bit here on the gold chart, but TR continuing to pull ahead, slow and steady here as they continue to win the race, but a pretty quiet game. Both sides are pretty okay with letting their carries pick up some farm. Virtus.pro supports have been a little bit more active about setting up those kills, of course, the rotation mid and that rotation recently bottom, but all in all, very quiet. BGG is now level 7, did go for level 3 in the Malphus instead of the Eidolons here. So he is ready to get aggressive, and he is going to move to the top lane, so it looks like they will try and pressure this tower and possibly take a fight. May just burn that black hole for a solo Elder Titan if Light of Heaven isn't careful here.
And the timing of this is pretty good. Nature's Prophet is almost level 6, and he will actually port up behind. He'll try. He's just intimidating Light of Heaven here, basically. But can choose to port up and spawn treants. Oh, Lars, what are you doing? Almost dying to the tower alone.
That was a close
tanked
call.
About 500 damage there.
That was much closer than it needed to be, but Eid will port in here, and the treants come out mixed with Eidolons. That does make for pretty easy pushing power. And here we're going to see Yoki make a rotation. Light of Heaven going to be in big trouble. That Breathe Fire going to be enough to get him low, and Nuba going to finish him off with a couple of right clicks. But a 5-man rotation up here to the top lane from TR. They are ready to team fight, and Virtus.pro going to go ahead and just rotate bottom, and it will be a 3-man push to take out this Tier 1 tower. So that will be Tier 1 for Tier 1 exchanging, though. TR not done quite yet. They're going to keep going forward here into the Tier 2. And the glyph will be burned, but I don't think it's going to be enough. This is going to be a Tier 2 falling. Could very well be an exchange as Virtus.pro continue to press forward as well.
This is easily favoring TR for 2 reasons. They have a Dragon Knight, and he has a DD. And secondly, even if they trade Tier 2 for Tier 2, it's Virtus.pro who have to TP back. So all the TP gold will be used as well from multiple heroes, and they're actually getting significant damage on this Tier 3 tower.
Yeah, and
not seeing TPs just yet. They're getting it to half. We're 10 minutes in. What's going on?
Wow, Virtus.pro really not reacting to this the way I thought they would.
Are you kidding me?
They're going to get a free Tier 3. Alright, maybe not free. They'll finish off the Lifestealer, but still, they just pushed 3 towers kind of unchecked. That was... I thought Virtus.pro would have defended that a lot more vibrantly, but I guess the black hole kind of deterring them a bit. Lars going to be in some trouble as God hops forward. That'll be the end of the Crystal Maiden. So for free, I guess, was an overstatement. It will cost him 2 heroes, but still.
TR can be really happy with this trade.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable that that just happened. I can't believe it. I was sure VP would TP back all their heroes right after taking the Tier 2, and then hold their Tier 3 on maybe about half health, but they dropped the entire tower. And that's very scary already, because we're going to reach the stage of the game soon when Nature's Prophet can start split pushing. He got his Hand of Midas because of all that tower gold as well, by the way. And there's an exposed lane at 10 minutes, and you're playing against Nature's Prophet. That's really scary, because you have to be so much more respectful when you're pushing the other lanes. If Prophet is just remotely close to the base, you have to come back. You don't have the buffer anymore that you would sometimes have if you have that Tier 3 tower.
Yep, exactly right about that, and it will make for an easy push now if Virtus.pro makes some sort of a fatal misstep and TR press forward. That's an exposed Rax, not something that you see too often here. At the 10.5 minute mark it was, only 5 kills on the field and already a Tier 3 down. So it looks like Virtus.pro will try and give them a taste of their own medicine as it may be. They are going to group up in the mid. It is a 4-man push right now as they chip away at this Tier 1 tower. They've got that Leshrac now putting points in the Edict. Only level 1, an interesting Lesh build here. 3 Split Earth, 1 Edict, and 1 Lightning Storm. But still going to be enough to knock down these towers pretty easily. All the while in the top lane, though, Eid not going to let this go easily. He's going to put in some trans, and he'll start chipping away at these barracks. And already the melee Rack's taking damage. Of course, no glyph available for Virtus.pro. I really like this play from Eid just to keep the pressure on and force him to port back. Sometimes the best defense is a good offense, and we're seeing that here from TR.
And it's also opening up the bottom lane, most importantly, because TR is already pushing bottom. They took the Tier 1 tower and are rotating to the Tier 2. And since Eid forced TPs back to the base, VP are not in a position to defend right now. They might lose this Tier 2 as well. Yeah. I think they will. They will be too late to defend this. I would love to see Eid going for the ranged barracks when he gets in like this, because it's not likely that he will bring down the barracks at this point, and the melee barracks will heal up to full, but the ranged barracks have no regen.
Right.
And just getting the ranged barracks down actually means quite a lot for the amount of pressure they can keep putting on these lanes. So would love to see him go on that. You generally only go on the melee barracks if it's likely that you can bring them down in the near future, because else it's pretty much wasted effort.
Yes, exactly right. And here TR will, they're going to smoke up following that tier 2 tower kill and will move straight into the Roche pit. Now Virtus Pro didn't get visual confirmation, but they're going to smoke up on their own, and they're very suspicious here. They will press forward, and this is absolutely the right call. Roche very low. Slark going to pop in. It is going to get finished off by the Dire. Aegis will go the way of the Dire side, but Crystal Maiden going to fall. Looks like Illidan did burn the Eclipse, going to do a fair bit of damage here. PGG does have a black hole, but doesn't have the mana for it. Does have a Soul Ring available if he wants to use it. Already has the mech, but of course he did pick up the Aegis, so if he falls, he will pop back up with full health, full mana. Slark did get taken out, so it ends up being a 1-for-1. Virtus Pro, the right idea to try and contest it, I think, but not going to be successful. Nubik now going to hop out of Yoki. That'll be the end of the Ogre Magi. Now Illidan going to be in some trouble. Nubik trying to find an opening here. God going to buy back. He's right back in the action here. That'll secure the kill on the Lifestealer. Now Yoki going to have to about face. He's going to be in trouble, though. Does have the drums coming up off cooldown in just a moment if he wants to burn it. Will turn and try and finish off the Lesh. It's going to cost him his life, but he was probably going to fall anyhow, so at least takes out the Lesh before he goes down. Now Eid on the run is going to throw a Sprout onto God. He'll pounce backwards defensively, and Lars going to grab himself a haster, and here we see Slark scouted it out, so probably why he did opt to back up.
Wow, look at the XP graph. That's the most beautiful M I have ever seen. That's perfect. I believe there's some sort of subliminal message with this. This is absolutely perfect.
Wow, I kind of want to screenshot that
teams,
here. That's a save that one for later.
Big advantage for TR here once again. I think that fight went 3 for 3. They got the Roshan, and in terms of what heroes were lost, God was lost on the Slark. I'm not sure if he bought back or if the fight just lasted so long that he came back, but regardless, he bought back. Yes. Even worse for Virtus Pro. Big win for TR, and well, Virtus Pro, I'm really surprised with how much they've given TR, because that's the best word I can find for it. I feel like they've given it away where they could have held it. A lot of opportunities to defend where they didn't do it. Maybe thought they could get better trades than they did, but what they are facing right now, they're 2 towers down, one of them being a tier 3, they're a Roshan down, they have lower leveled supports, and their carry has bought back. And to make things worse, the carry that they're farming is a Luna, and she's farming against a Lifestealer who's arguably the best one-on-one carry counter against Luna in the game. So if we get these fights breaking out, Nubik can actually force the Luna to run back in the fight so she can't deal her damage.
And the tier 1 in the mid lane going to take heavy pressure here from TR. Glyph does come out to save this tier 1. It'll get denied, which is a good notion for Virtus Pro, but I worry about burning the Glyph for a tier 1. Illidan not going to be able to escape. He's going to get converged on. And now with Luna down, buyback is available, but TR, they're just going to press forward. PGG still has a black hole, and of course they're going to go for this top lane of Rax. With the Glyph down, this could end up being an easy push. I think Luna's going to be forced to buy back here. I really don't agree with that Glyph usage.
She's going to have to. It's pretty clear right now, and with the Aegis still on PGG, he can afford to play really aggressively here and go in. Now there comes the rebuy. I'm not sure they're going to continue on this one.
Well, we'll
still
see.
Doing some damage. Oh god, it's going to get Lars. Shadowblade.
Big trouble. Down he goes. At least this time they are chipping away at the ranged Rax, so it won't regenerate. With Crystal Maiden down, they are going to be forced to about face. Also, their Lifestealer, very low hit point pool, and not going to find the opening they were looking for. But again, that's permanent damage on this ranged Rax, and now that's an easy push away. E could very well just port down and try and backdoor it, perhaps. I don't know that I'll have
turn around on Illidan. He's overextended.
Oh my! I was looking at the barracks. I caught the tail end of it.
Ahead of his team. Everyone else already backed off. Seems like a little bit of miscommunication there. And now TR. I think they're going to go for it right away again.
Why wouldn't they?
That one kill Slark got, it's not worth it. To be honest, the problem is he had the element of surprise with the Shadowblade, which TR didn't know was coming, but he didn't get a priority kill. They didn't get a good team fight, and now they just lost the Luna who bought back. This is Rax flat out.
Absolutely.
And they can't have the element of surprise going for them anymore. I think TR might even have some True Sight coming their way. Crystal Maiden has 2 Sentry Wards.
And now God gonna come in. He wants to connect with Nubik here. The leash not gonna pounce. Nubik just gonna turn and obliterate the Slark as the Dragonite just lays into him. The Split Earth comes out, or Earth Splitter, pardon me. Doesn't do a hell of a lot of damage. PGG still with the Black Hole available. Doesn't need to get too aggressive here. Ranged Rax fell, and now the melee Rax gonna fall shortly after. Luna gonna be coming up, but with Slark down and the the Black Hole still up, I don't know. Maybe TR can continue to press their luck here. They will smoke up. And maybe just rotate to the mid, maybe just an escape smoke here for that little bit of movement speed. But only one outer tower remaining. Virtus Pro just seem to be in disarray here. Kind of an odd set of decision-making leading to that Rax falling.
This is just very strange for me, because the recent games we've seen from Virtus Pro, they've seemed pretty structured, and like, they've taken better trades and made better decisions overall, but TR is just getting the better of them, and I'm a little bit surprised because the lineup that Virtus Pro has, TR has, is a type of lineup that multiple players from Virtus Pro has played with a lot themselves. Light of Heaven has used to play a lot with Enigma and Nature's Prophet, and these kind of pushing lineups that CIS kind of brought into the metagame in Dota 1, where you started picking Prophet and Enigma together and pushing towers really early. So it can't really surprise Virtus Pro how fast things go, but they're simply not ready for it still.
Yeah.
And with those barracks down, 18 minutes down with barracks against a Prophet in a competitive game, that's a really tall order here, and they've lost so much on their carry as well. If Luna was at least having a good game, then they could try to fall back on some sick team fights later on, but she's struggling to get a BKB at 20 minutes.
Yeah. And a lot of it comes from that really a dieback there. The buyback, and then that just, I really, must have been a miscommunication. I think you were spot on with that, because Luna was just in no man's land and did pay for it. God will grab a solo kill onto the Prophet. I did miss that one, unfortunately, but as you mentioned, he does have a Shadow Blade, so now Slark, even more slippery than usual, and will use it to much avail and secure a kill. Light of Heaven also going to grab a Hand of Midas here on that Elder Titan. And in this kind of a situation, I'm not so sure how I feel about that. I think a mech would go a long way for Virtus Pro, and he could be pretty close to it by now if he didn't go for that Hand of Midas, and instead he just has that economic investment and doesn't really provide a lot of utility when TR are getting aggressive with these pushes, and we'll see that exemplified right here as Light of Heaven going to get taken down very easily. And
PGG trailing Yotum as well.
Yeah, he's going to be in trouble. Looks like JOTM going to be slated to fall. No way you're surviving this one, pal. 2 easy kills for TR. And now they're just going to rotate mid, I think, and knock down this last outer tower.
I feel like these moves coming out from Virtus Pro right now are just desperation moves, that they start pushing this tier 1 tower top. This was never going to work, but they feel like they have to because they're already getting cornered on their own half of the map, so they have to try to get out. But this is perhaps... I don't know how long it's been since I've seen this uneven game with a 9-9 score. It's unbelievable how much this game is favoring TR right now. I can't believe it. And that really goes to show how much it's to do with decision-making, because it hasn't really been about fights. They've just got it for free. That's the unbelievable thing about it. And TR, well, if they get something for free, they'll take some more, maybe pay for it a bit. They've paid a bit to get the barracks, but okay, fair enough, I'll take that trade. And already trying to get in the mid lane as well.
And now
really aggressive play here.
Has himself a Desolator to go with that armlet, so he's starting to hit pretty hard again. PGG yet to even use a Black Hole. A glyph available for Virtus Pro as TR are starting to push in. They have a mech also helping their teamfight prowess here. God gonna hop forward again, gonna go for the Crystal Maiden. He'll secure that kill, but it's just not a very high value target. God now gonna burn that ulti cooldown and he'll be forced to retreat. He doesn't have that utility to continue in this fight. Yeah, it's great that it's a 5v4, but it's only a Crystal Maiden. Now Arzar going to be in some trouble. Nubik going to use the Rage. That'll be a set of easy right clicks for the Leshrac. To finish off the Leshrac, pardon me. He'll buy back. Now Illidan comes in. A nice Eclipse will finish off PGG as well as Yoki. Eid going to get finished as well. Finally, the team fight that Virtus Pro were looking for. They will clean it up. A buyback is burned by one of their supports, but still, they fend this off, and they stop PGG from using that Black Hole once again.
This is very, very chaotic. I think TR overstayed their welcome there. When Crystal Maiden was dead and they were all on half health, they should have probably backed away, but just goes to show that Virtus Pro, when they're organized, when they're in the right position and use their spells correctly, they have great counter-pushing heroes. They have a level 4 Astral Spirit and a level 4 Lightning Storm. This is very hard to push into for the heroes that TR has. Even their summons almost get blown away by that. Just the Lightning Storm and the Astral Spirit almost gets the... Oh, Nubik now is going to find Arzard again. He just bought back. He's going to die again.
Man,
Nubik really far up on the map here alone and might get to pay for it here. He will.
Yeah, he's going to get stunned. The leash going to connect from God. Or the pounce will leash, I guess I should say. It's still a weird ability to talk about. Because you say shackle it latched. That one's easy. But leash isn't really a verb. I guess it could be. I don't know. I don't know the right way to say it. But alas, it is going to be a 1-for-1.
That's good.
Is that right?
I think that's the way to say it.
Leashed. He pounced in and he's going to... He connected with the leash.
He got bound.
He got bound by the leash.
Bound
That's good.
to the ground.
That's good. I like that.
There we
bound
go.
to the ground.
So TR, they're going to try again. I don't know.
Nubik
I feel like
buy
they're
back here.
maybe a little bit overzealous here. They just bought back the Lifestealer. and there's 1 minute until Roshan. Of course, the players don't know this, but it's pretty close by. But they're still just going to brute force this again, and well, Glyph is going to be popped. They need to be careful not to throw too much Virtus Pro's way, although they have a little bit of leeway right now.
Yep, and they have the black hole. PGG needs to be careful, does burn the mech to start things off. God going to hop in, not going to connect with that leash, and he will burn the Shadow Dance. So now Slark not going to be out of the game, but not going to have that same utility. Also, Luna's ult is down. Illidan has now picked up a BKB and kind of going to waste that BKB charge. He'll burn it, and TR just going to turn an about face right away. And that is just really a wasted BKB charge. Not much going to come of it, and that Eclipse going to be down for another 20 seconds. So TR still have a window here if they want to press forward. Elder Dragon form going to have a bit of duration left to it. They will go for the melee racks here, so obviously TR thinking they can commit to this and actually finish it off. The bouncy glaive helping to get rid of some of those treants, and melee racks going to get down to about 2/3 health before TR looking like this isn't going to work. Probably should have just started chipping away at the range. But as you mentioned, Roshan going to be coming up very quickly here. They know it, and they are just going to retreat back the way of the Roshan pit. They also do have the ward advantage right now. They have it up on the high ground here, a sentry down, so they know that that area is safe, and there isn't a lot of vision about the map. So Virtus Pro probably suspicious, but won't have visual confirmation of what's happening here.
Yeah, this is definitely going to be TR's. Even if VP tried to move out for this, I think it's a really risky play, because this is a great position to be in for the team that has Enigma. Fighting around the Roshan pit with 2 tanky heroes that can go in front will definitely get you a good setup. Both Dragon Knights and Lifestealer can play that role of going in first. There you go. Aegis will go the way of Nubik. I think they're going to just try mid again. They didn't really lose anything last time. VP used a BKB charge, they used Slark's ultimate, which is obviously up again. But what did TR really use? They used the mech, I think. The Dragon form is up again. So nothing really used for them.
Now.
And they forced the glyph, very true. That's very important as well. This is an opening, I believe, for TR. Now, although Slark, this is the perfect time for him to get the BKB. Now only Black Hole can stop him in this fight. That's important.
Yep. So they are going to poke forward. The Eclipse will be up this time for Luna, and actually pretty close to that level 16 mark, 15.5 right now. So we'll have at least a level 2 Eclipse. Not too many beams, given that there are a lot of creeps around between the treants, as well as actually an Enigma illusion here, and Enigma.
And here we go, ranged barracks.
But ranged barracks going to be the target choice this time. The sleep comes out from the Elder Titan. Not going to be enough. Slark actually going to fall right away. There's the black hole we've been waiting for. Leshrac going to go down. Luna going to fall shortly after. That'll be a buyback from Illidan, but a very convincing team fight for TR. Slark not going to have the buyback he needs. Lesh still going to be on cooldown. That's going to be 2 lanes of racks, and I think TR might be able to secure this win. It's tied up 14-14 in hero kills, but boy, is that graph way in their favor. Now Illidan going to throw a die back here. He gets stunned. He gets dropped like he's hot. Still no glyph available. I think Mega Creep's going to be coming out here, Cinderin.
The only thing it took for that to happen was one mistake from God in the mid here. He didn't get his BKB off. He went so greedy that he tried to initiate with his Shadow Blade. There was a sentry ward down. He got stunned by the Dragon Knight. Instantly brought down. He just bought the BKB and doesn't even get to use it. No rebuy gold. Oh, wow. I don't know. Like, when do you see Mega Creeps with a score of 14-15? This is an unreal game for me. This is incredible.
Yeah.
What TR just got away with here. 25-minute win. I don't think many people were expecting TR to take this. I guess there's some people who won some very nice rares in this, but boy.
Probably.
What a quick game. I still can't believe this happened.
Yeah, a quick game, but very interesting. I think a lot of it comes back to that initial push where TR were able to take basically every tower in that top lane, Tier 1, Tier 2, and then into the Tier 3, and Virtus Pro just sort of hesitated about that decision-making. It seemed they wanted to try and commit themselves to finish the Tier 2 and maybe move to the Tier 3. It was obvious they didn't have the pushing prowess to beat TR in that kind of a race, and they waited too long to port back. And that was it. They lost their Tier 3, and then that just made for an easy, slow siege where TR could just continue to shove into the base. And once you have 2 lanes of racks down at the 25-minute mark, it's looking pretty grim. And, of course, they were able to seal the deal. So, a quick but entertaining first game. Nonetheless, that was game 1 of 4, guys. We've got plenty more Dota coming your way here on Beyond the Summit for Starladder Season 8, Day 19 coverage. I am Zyori. Joining me once again is Cinderin. Don't go anywhere, because Dota 2 action will resume coming up next.